Hi guys! So today we're going to be talking about the Lenape and their farming practices. So we're in my backyard because I thought I'd show you my garden and my farming. I wouldn't say I'm really a farmer. So this year I planted the three sisters and I didn't even realize it. I planted corn, I planted squash and beans. Now the only thing that's actually coming up right now are the beans, and they're just starting to come up. Here they are, and you can see they're so cute. This is actually where the beans starting to come up. A couple of them, they'll start to grow tall. Now I didn't plant them the way that the Lenape did, all together like you've seen in the slides. I wish I did, and I will next year. I'm gonna try that next year. So the Lenape planted over 12 varieties of corn. We're most familiar with white corn or silver corn or yellow corn. That's the kind we see around here most of the time. But they planted all sorts of corn for all sorts of reasons too. As a matter of fact, did you know that they had popcorn? They have special corn that they planted to make popcorn. Who knew? So the Lenapes did many things with the corn that they grew. One of the things they did was eat it like corn on the cob, like we do. And they would cook it and cut it off the cob and use it in stews and soups. But they would also cut it off the cob like this when it was still raw. And they would then ground that corn down into something called cornmeal. I actually happen to have cornmeal in my cabinet because I use it for the same things that the Lenape used it for. When you grind the cornmeal down, it looks like this. This is just ground up corn. Add a little water to this, maybe some eggs and butter, and definitely some sugar, and you get cornbread and corn patties and corn fritters, lots of delicious treats, all of which my family loves. But they didn't just use the corn itself. The Lenape even used the corn husk. They would fill the corn husks with different food items, wrap it up tight, put it in the coals, and cook it. They actually used it for cooking. They even used the corn husks for making dolls. As a matter of fact, when I was a little girl, we used to make corn husk dolls. But we used to use it when it was dry, and I actually don't even remember exactly what we did. I'm gonna have to look that up, but I do remember that that was fun. So just like the Lenape used every bit of the animals that they hunted, they used every bit of the food that they grew. And they did this out of respect to the earth and its gifts. Of the three crops that the Lenape women harvested, squash was one of them. Right here, I happen to have two kinds of squash. This is an acorn squash. This is a butternut squash. You're very familiar with another kind of squash that you see every October. I'm sure you can think of, I'm not even going to tell you what it is. I know you're thinking big and orange, sometimes little, but it just so happens that today it was a rainy day and I had these on hand and I thought, oh, I'm going to make some squash soup. And then I was doing my research and I saw that that's what the Lenape did with their squash. They baked it and boiled it. Today I'm going to boil it to make my soup. And hopefully it'll come out nice and we'll get to see what that looks like.